Welcome back, or if this is your first time here, welcome. I'm glad you found this. I don't think it was an accident that you are here listening to this or on this particular day. I believe that you were led here. And I think that by the time you get to the end of this conversation, you're going to understand why. Today, I want to talk to you about something that I think is one of the most damaging, most painful, most misunderstood things that women can believe about themselves. And that thing is this: I'm lazy. How many of you have said this word, I'm lazy, or this phrase? Maybe not out loud, maybe not to anyone else, but in the quiet of your own mind. In the moments when you cannot get yourself to do the thing that you said you were going to do. When you cannot write the post that you said that you were going to write, or send the email, or make the call. When you cannot sit down and do the work that you know you will have to do in order to move your business forward. That voice came and said, what is wrong with you? Why can you not just do it? You are lazy. I want to talk to that voice today. I want to talk to that belief because I'm going to make a case, a real grounded, honest, scientific, and a spiritual case. The laziness is almost never what is actually happening. What you have been calling laziness is something else entirely, something deeper, something that it has a name, a cause, a root, and more importantly, a solution. You are not lazy, you are blocked. And there is a profound difference between those two things. A difference that it changes everything. The way you see yourself, the way you relate to your business, the way you understand your patterns, and the way that you finally break them. So get comfortable, get your coffee, get your tea, maybe grab your journal because I think you're going to need it to write some of these things down. And this is the real conversation, and it starts right now. I want to begin with the story. Not my story, or maybe it is my story. And maybe it is your story too. Maybe it belongs to all of us in different ways. There is a woman. She is smart. She knows she's smart. Not in an arrogant way, but in the way that you just know certain things about yourself. Because your whole life, people have told you you have so much potential. Teachers, family members, friends, you have so much potential. They have told her that, and she felt it too. The potential, like something living inside of her, something bright and real, and it's almost too big to be contained. Like she was holding a fire that it was meant to light up something so much larger than the space that she's currently in. She wanted to build something, a business, a coaching practice, a platform, a movement, something that used her gifts, that made a difference, that created real financial freedom and the real impact at the same time. And she tried. She really, really tried. She made the plans. She wrote the vision. She woke up early. She stayed up late. She invested money. She was nervous to spend that money, but she did it anyways. She built things that she was proud. She showed up in the beginning. She always show up. But then something will happen. The momentum will slow down. The inspiration will deepen. The resistance will come. And instead of pushing through, she will find herself doing everything except the thing that she needed to do. Cleaning the kitchen when she was supposed to be writing content, scrolling through Instagram when she should be making calls, watching one more YouTube video about strategy that she maybe need to implement, one more thing that she may need it. And at the end of the day, she will look at what she has done, the list of things that she has promised herself she would do. And the boys will come. The boys will say, You are lazy. You don't want it badly enough. Other people are out there grinding and you cannot even post. You cannot even make one post or do one thing. What is wrong with you? And she will go to bed feeling ashamed. And woke up the next day. She was determined that today it will be different. And sometimes it was. Sometimes she will have a brilliant, productive day, a very electric day, where everything flowed and everything felt like herself, like the real version of herself, like the woman that she knew she was capable of being. And then, a few days later, the resistance will return, the avoidance will return, the voice will return to say, you are lazy. You are not doing what you're supposed to do. And I want to ask you something. Does that story sound familiar? Because if it does, if you heard yourself somewhere in that description, I want you to hold that recognition. Not with shame, with curiosity, with compassion, with the willingness to look at it differently than you have before. Because that woman is not lazy. That woman is blocked. And the blocks are not her fault, but they are her responsibility. In that distinction between fault and responsibility is where the real work begins. Let me tell you what block it actually is. Because I think we throw that word around sometimes without understanding the full weight of what it means. You are blocked. We say it casually, like it's a minor inconvenience, like it's just a bad week, a lack of motivation, or something like a good night's sleep might fix it. But a block, a real block, is not a surface level thing. A block is a place inside of you where your energy, your belief, your identity, your sense of what is possible, what is safe, it stops moving. And I think about it like a river. Water is meant to flow. It is the nature of water to move, to find its way, to seek the ocean. But when there is something in the path of that river, or a wall, or a pile of debris, the water stops, or it goes around it, or it finds a different path of least resistance, which is often not the path that it leads anywhere meaningful. And this is what a block does to a woman with the calling. The calling is there, the gift is there, the desire, the vision, the potential, all of it is there. But somewhere between the calling and the expression of it, somewhere there is something in the way, something that it was built over time, often without awareness, without your consent. And until that something is removed or clear out or healed, the energy cannot flow, the business cannot build, the breakthrough cannot come. And from the outside, and often from the inside, it looks like laziness, but it's not laziness. Laziness will mean you don't care, but you care deeply. And that's why it hurts so much. Laziness will mean that you have no desire, no drive, no vision. You have all those things. That's why the gap between what you want and what you are doing is so painful. A true lazy person does not lie awake at night, think about what they should have done or what they should do. That is not laziness. That is a Black woman who is in pain. And she deserves healing, not judgment. So, where did the blocks come from? I want to walk you through this because understanding the source of something is the beginning of dissolving it. You cannot heal what you cannot see. And most women have been carrying these blocks for so long in such an unconscious way that they have completely confused them with personality. They have this thing where they call it character, but that is not them. They have said, I'm a procrastinator. When the truth is, I have a block around beginning things. Because beginning things in my family was always followed by disappointment. They have said, I'm bad with money. When the truth is, I have deeply inherited that belief that money is dangerous, that wanting money is wrong. The women in my family have always struggled financially, and it's just how it is. They said I'm not consistent. When the truth is, I have a nervous system that it has been dysregulated for years that responds to growth and visibility with alarm. And that makes consistency feel physically and emotionally unsafe. These are not character traits, they are blocks, and they come from three primary places. The first place is your personal history, the experience you had, the specific individual things that happened to you or that did not happen to you that shape how you see yourself and what you believe that is possible to you. The criticism that landed too hard, the failure that it was not processed, the success that it was punished or minimized. The moment you try to shine and where you were told in some way to be smaller, this experience creates beliefs. Beliefs create patterns. Patterns create blocks. The second place is your family system. And this is the one that it surprises most people. You are not a standalone individual who arrived to the world as a blank slate and build your psychology entirely from scratch. You arrive in a family, a system, a lineage, and that system has patterns, beliefs, stories, wounds, and they were transmitted to you, not always verbally, not always consciously, but transmitted nonetheless the way your mother related to money. It becomes your default relationship to money. The way your father handled conflicts, it became your nervous system blueprint for how you handle challenge. The things your family believe about success, about visibility, about worth, those things live inside of you, often so deep that you mistake them for your own opinions. The third place is collective and cultural. You are a woman. And women, all women in every culture, in every generation, have been given a specific message about what they're allowed to want, how much space they're allowed to take, how loud they're allowed to be, how successful they're allowed to become. Those messages, they were in the air you breathe growing up. They were in the media you consumed, the stories you were told, the models of womanhood that they were presented to you. And whether you consciously believe them or not, they have shaped you. They have created layers of permission that you do not even know that you are operating inside of them. Three sources: personal story, family system, collective conditioning. And together, they have built a specific, very powerful set of blocks inside of you that you are not at fault, but you're absolutely responsible to address them because no one else can do it for you. And nothing, no strategy, no tactic, no coach, no course can do it for you either. The clearing has to happen inside. I want to talk about what the blocks actually look like in your business. Because sometimes I think we talk about inner work in the very abstract terms, and women nod their heads and they understand it, but then they go back to their desk and is still trying to figure it out. Why they can't make the post. So I want to be specific on this. The block of unworthiness shows up as undercharging. It shows up as creating an incredible offer and then the pricing at a fraction that is value because somewhere inside of you, you believe that it's the right price. You don't believe people will actually pay you what you're worth. It shows up is discounting before anyone asks for discount. It shows up is apologizing for your pricing, over explaining your prices, feeling sick whenever you're going to say your price. Every time you have to say the number out loud, it gives you nauseous and fear. It does not show up as a conscious belief that you are not worthy. It will never say that, but it will show up in the number you type when you create the payment plan. And the number that it tells the truth. The block of visibility shows up in a post you write delete before you even publish. It shows up as the video you filmed and decided that it's not good enough, that I will not upload it. It shows up as the live you keep scheduling and then canceling at the last minute. It shows up as the brilliance that it stays in your journal, in your voice, in your own head. Because something about putting it out there to the world where people can see it, people will judge it. It responds and feels dangerous. It doesn't feel convenience. It feels inconvenient. It feels dangerous. Like something bad will happen if you are fully seen. Because maybe something did happen once when you were fully seen, and your nervous system has not forgotten that information. The block of receiving shows up as the client who says yes, and you immediately feel a wave of anxiety instead of joy. It shows up as the woman who cannot let a compliment land, who deflects, who minimizes it, immediately returns back something. It shows up as the unexpected check that it comes, and instead of celebrating, you start mentally rehearsing all the ways that it might not last. It shows up as the inability to let good things be good for you, to let success be success, to let win be a win, because receiving, really receiving, opening your hands and letting abundance flow into them, it requires a level of safety, a trust, of self worth that many women have never been given the space to develop. The block of completion. It shows up as the offer that is 90% built. It has been sitting there for 4 months. The website that it just needs one more page. The program that it just needs to be recorded. The email sequence that it just needs to be written. Everything almost done and nothing fully launched. Because completion means exposure. Completion means it is real. Completion means someone can say no. And the fear of that no, the fear of putting your whole self into something and having the world to respond with silence or rejection is enough to keep you in a permanent state of almost there. The block of consistency. It shows up as the woman who's brilliant for 2 weeks and then disappear for a month. Not because she doesn't care, but because she cares too much and the caring is exhausting. And the showing up feels like holding her breath every single time, and eventually the body just cannot sustain it and it shuts down. She's not inconsistent because she's lazy. She's inconsistent because she's running on a dysregulated nervous system and nobody has ever taught her how to regulate it. These are the blocks. Sitting inside, you're beautiful, you're capable, you're brilliant. Not because you are broken, but because you're a human and you have been carrying things that they were never meant to be a permanent part of you. Now, I want to talk about the nervous system in a little bit more deeper way because I think this is the piece that women are most surprised by it. And I think it is the piece that it creates the most immediate relief when we understand it. Your nervous system, the vast, intricate, intelligent network of signals that it runs through your entire body, has been shaped by your experience. Every significant experience you had from the earliest years of your life forward has left an imprint on your nervous system, has trained you to respond in certain ways to certain stimulus. This is actually a beautiful feature of being a human. It's what allows us to learn, to adapt, to survive. When something dangerous happens, the nervous system records it and it becomes more alert to similar dangers in the future. When something safe and loving happens, it records that too and it leans towards more of it. The problem is that the nervous system cannot always tell the difference between real danger and perceived danger. It cannot tell the difference between a genuine threat to your physical survival and the feeling of posting vulnerable pieces of content on Instagram. It cannot always tell the difference between actual rejection that it actually devastated your life and the possibility that the sales call might not convert. It cannot always tell the difference between the real danger you experienced when you were a child, when being too loud, too much, too visible, too successful actually did cause you something, in the relative safety of your adult life, where being seen is not only safe but necessary for the business that you are trying to build. And so it fires and it sends the alarm. It activates the same response in the body, the tightening, the anxiety, the fatigue, the shutdown, whether the threat is real or perceived, present from the past or genuine, just imagine. And what you feel in those moments is not weakness. And what you feel in your nervous system is doing its job, is doing what it's actually designed to do, just based upon outdated information, based upon a version of your life that it no longer exists, based upon a threat that is no longer real. And when you understand that, when you genuinely understand that the resistance you feel around showing up, around charging, around being visible, receiving, completing, or staying consistent, is your nervous system trying to protect you from something that it perceives that is a threat, not a character flaw, not a spiritual failure, not an evidence that you don't want that thing badly enough. Everything shifts when you understand that. Because now you are not fighting yourself. Now you are working with yourself. You are saying to your nervous system, I hear you. I understand you. I know you're trying to keep me safe. I am going to teach you slowly, patiently, with practice, with repetition, that this growth, this visibility, this success is safe. That is the work, not the grind, not the push harder, not the hustle harder, go faster, do more. That is slow. The compassionate work of teaching your nervous system a new definition of safety. I want to talk about identity for a moment because everything, truly everything, comes back from identity. Not your brand identity, not the identity you have crafted from Instagram, the deeper identity, the one that operates below all of that, the one that answers the question, who do I fundamentally believe that I am? Because here's what I have learned working with women who are stuck in these patterns. They are not stuck because they lack strategy. They're stuck because their identity does not yet match the life that they're trying to build. Their strategy says, I'm building a premium coaching business or I'm building a premium service. Their identity says, I am someone who has always struggled, who has never make it, who gets so close and then she loses it, who is meant to help others, but somehow she needs help herself. And those two things are in direct conflict in your subconscious mind, which is always, always working to create consistency between your identity and your reality, will quietly, persistently work to make your outer life to match your inner story. Which means that if your inner story is one of the struggle, it will create struggle. If your inner story is, I'm almost there, but I'm not there yet, it will create, I'm almost there, but I'm not there yet. If your story is, I always have to start over, it will create something where you can start over. Not to punish you, not because the universe or God is working against you, but because your subconscious mind is doing exactly what it's designed to do: maintain consistency, create familiarity, keep you in the story that it knows. This is why information alone does not create change. You can know everything there is to know about marketing and still not market yourself. You can know exactly how to close a sale and still freeze on the call. You can know the strategy, the system, the formula, and still find yourself sitting at your desk unable to begin. Because knowledge lives in the conscious mind, and the conscious mind is a small percentage of who you are. The identity, the story, the belief, the deeply ingrained sense of self that lives in the subconscious, in the nervous system, in the body, in the cells. And until that changes, until the identity changes, the pattern will not change. This is not a discouraging news. This is the most hopeful thing I can tell you because identity can change, not overnight, not with a journaling session, not with a single breakthrough moment. Although breakthrough moments are real and they're happening, identity changes through repetition, through practice, through choosing again and again and again, especially in the moments when the old identity tries to pull you back. Through building evidence, small pieces of evidence accumulated over time that it will tell a different story, you will create a new identity. The new identity is real. The new version of you is not just possible because she actually exists. She is here. She is you. And I want to talk about something that I think is incredibly important and that often gets lost in conversations about inner work and personal growth. And that is the difference between processing and healing. Because many women that I work with, they have done a lot of processing. They have gone to therapy. They have done the journaling. They have read the books. They have listened to the podcast. They cried the tears. They had realizations. They have spent years, sometimes decades, in the process of understanding their patterns, tracing their wounds, naming their triggers, and they're still stuck. Not because the processing wasn't valuable, it was. Every bit of awareness, every moment of genuinely self understanding, that is not wasted. That is the foundation. But processing alone is not healing. Understanding why you are the way you are does not automatically changes the way you are. Knowing that your fear of visibility comes from childhood experience of being humiliated for speaking up does not automatically make you unafraid to post a video. Tracing self-sabotage back to family system that told you that success was dangerous does not make your nervous system feel safe when you start to succeed. Understanding is necessary, but it's the beginning, not the end. Healing is what is happening after understanding. Healing is the active, the intentional process of reprogramming, of building new neural pathways, of creating new experiences that contradict the old story, of choosing new responses, new behaviors, new beliefs, not just once in a moment of inspiration, but consistently, persistently, even when it's uncomfortable, even when the old programming tries to pull you back. Healing is what happens when you stop replaying the story and start writing a new one. Not by pretending that the old story did not happen, but by deciding that the old story does not get to be the ending. By deciding that who you are becoming is more powerful than what you have been through. By deciding, and this is the key word, deciding the woman on the other side of the healing is not just someone you hope to become someday. She is who you are choosing to become right now, in this moment, with every choice. I want to address something directly because I know some of you are thinking it. Some of you are listening to this and nodding along and feeling the truth of everything I'm saying and simultaneously thinking, but I really don't have time. But I really have to work on my business. But I really cannot afford to slow down to do the inner work when the bills are due and the clients are not coming and the money is tight. And I hear that. Truly, I hear that. But I want to offer you a reframe. The inner work is not separated from the business work. The inner work is not something you do instead of building your business. The inner work is what makes the business work and it makes it possible in a sustainable way. You do not have time not to do it because here's what happens when you skip it. You build and then you struggle. And you push through the resistance while knuckling your way through every piece of content, every launch, every client, conversation, because you have not addressed the thing underneath. And it works. Sometimes it works. You might have wins, you might have moments of breakthrough, but the cost is enormous. The energy that it takes to produce the results without healing is huge. more than the energy it takes to produce results after healing. The unhealed woman works twice as hard to get halfway as far because she's fighting herself the entire time. Because half of her energy is going into the creation, and the other half is going into the resistance, the self doubt, the second guessing, the freezing, the recovery from the freezing response. And it's exhausting. It is not sustainable. And eventually, in this place is where the starting over pattern lives. Eventually, the body gives out, the mind gives out, the spirit does, and she has to stop and start again. The healed woman, or the woman in the process of healing, because she is in that process, she is not doing a destination right now. She works differently, not necessarily less, but differently, from a different place, from a place of expansion rather than contraction, from a place of trusting rather than fear, from the place of identity rather than desperation. And the results she creates comes with less cost. They're more sustainable. They compound because the foundation is solid. So when you say, I don't have time to do the inner work, I want to gently, lovingly push back on that. You don't have time not to do it. The time that you will spend in the next year spinning in the same cycle, starting over, burning down, rebuilding from scratch, that time is far more expensive than the time that it takes to do the work that it breaks that cycle. The question is not whether you can afford to heal. The question is whether you can afford not to heal. Let me talk to you about what it actually looks on the other side. Because I think sometimes when we talk about healing and inner work and reprogramming, it can feel very abstract, very future tense, very aspirational in a way that it doesn't quite feel real or accessible from where you are right now. So let me make it more concrete. On the other side of this work, you wake up and your first thought is not anxiety about whether you can do it or you cannot do it or about yesterday. It is clarity about what you are doing today. And the clarity feels easy, natural, like water finding its course. And on the other side of this work, you create content not from a place of, I have to prove myself, I have to get likes, I have to justify my existence in this space, but from a place of genuine desire to share something that it is true for you, something that will help other people, something that it comes from the deep well of your experience and your knowing. And that content created from that place lands differently. It reaches people differently. It converts differently. And on the other side of this work, a client says yes. And you feel not excited, not the waiting for the other shoe to drop, but genuine gratitude, genuine readiness, a quiet certainty that you are exactly the right person to do this work with this person and that she's going to be transformed by it. On the other side of this work is low month doesn't destroy you. It doesn't send you into a spiral self doubt. It doesn't end with deleting the information on Instagram and declaring that you're going to start something new. It's just data. It's just a season. And you move through it with steadiness because your identity is not contingent on the metrics. On the other side of this work, you charge your worth without apology, without the price steady voice going up and it sounding like a question, without immediately offering a discount before anyone asks, because the number you name is a reflection of your identity, and your identity knows what is your value. And on the other side of this work, you are consistent, not perfect, but consistent. There will always still be hard days, hard weeks, seasons of challenge and recalibration. But the baseline, consistency, the showing up even when you don't feel inspired, the commitment to do the work even when the results feel slow, that is no longer a struggle. It's just who you are. It's the identity that you have built. That woman exists. She is not a fantasy. She is you. And on the other side of the decision, She is you already healed. She is you with the work done. And she's waiting for you to come and meet her. Now, I want to talk about what stops women from taking the step towards healing. Because I have been doing this work long enough to know that it's not usually a lack of desire. The women that they find their way to me are not women who don't want change. They're women who want desperately that change, who has been waiting for years, who has been circling the same mountain for longer than they want to admit. What stops them always one of these three things. The first thing is disbelief, a quiet but persistent voice that it says, it won't work for me. I have tried things before. I have invested before. I have believed before. And then I end up right back here. What would this be different? And I want to sit with you for a moment because that voice deserves to be heard, not dismissed. Here's what I want to say to that voice. You have tried this before. Not really. You have tried strategy. You have tried information. You have tried new tactics, new plans, new offers. But if you have never done the deep identity work, if you have never addressed the nervous system, the subconscious programming, those patterns, the specific blocks that they're driving, the specific ways to self sabotage, then you have never tried what I'm talking about. And the reason it will be different is not because I'm offering you a miracle. It's because for the first time, you will be addressing the actual problem, not the symptoms, the root. The second thing that stops women is the fear of what would they find. This one is real. This one is honest because going inward, really going inward, means looking at things you have spent years avoiding, beliefs about yourself that they're painful, patterns that they're embarrassing, wounds that you have convinced yourself that they're healed because you don't want to look at them anymore. And I want to say to that fear, it's okay. It is okay to be afraid of what you will find. But here's what I know to be true. Whatever you find inside of you, whatever the wound whatever the belief is, whatever the pattern is not worse than what you are already experiencing. The life you are already living with the blocks in place, the cycle of starting over and over, the exhaustion, the fighting yourself, that is already the cause of the wound. You are already paying it. The only question is whether you want to continue to pay without healing it or whether you want to go in, look at it, heal it, and stop paying. The third thing that stops women is the belief that they need to be more ready, more stable, more together, more financially comfortable, more emotionally resolved, more certain that this is the right time. And to that, I say, the woman who's waiting to be ready, it will be waiting forever because readiness is not something that it falls out of the sky or that it comes from the outside. Readiness is something you decide. It is not a feeling, it's a choice, it's a decision. And the woman who breaks the cycle is not the woman who's waiting until she feels ready. She is the woman who decided. There is something I want to say about courage because I think courage is deeply misunderstood. We think courage means not being afraid. It is not. Courage is being afraid, fully afraid, and is still making a decision anyways. Not the reckless decision, not the decision that is made on panic or an emotional state that overrides wisdom. No, the grounded decision, the clear eyed decision, the decision made from the part of you that it knows, that it always knows that you are capable of more, that you are called to be more. What is going to take, what is going to be for you, the decision made from your higher self, not your wounded self, not your being scared, not the decision that it comes from fear, not the 95% that is running the old program, the part of you that it was never broken, the part of you that she has always been courageous. She was always known. She has always been ready. She has been waiting for you to listen to her instead of the fear. She has been waiting for you to trust her instead of the program. She has been waiting for you to make the decision that she has already known all along. That is the act of courage, not the absence of fear, the choosing of the higher voice over you, that is the louder voice, that is the one that is calling you to your mission, to your purpose. And every time you choose it, every single time the higher voice gets louder and the fear gets a little quieter, and the identity of the woman that you are becoming gets a little more real, that is how the work happens. That is how the cycle breaks, one courageous decision at a time. We're getting close to the end of this episode. And before I give you the closing, I want to do something that I think is important. I want to give you something practical, something that you can take from this conversation and you use it today. Because I believe in deep work. And I also believe that deep work has to meet daily life or it will stay in just theory. And theoretical inner work changes nothing. So here is three things you can do starting today to begin addressing your blocks. The first thing is to name them. Specifically, look at the specific places in your business where you consistently get stuck, consistently avoid, under deliver on your own promises to yourself. And instead of calling it laziness, ask yourself, where am I afraid here? What will happen? What do I believe it will happen? If I actually did this, what do I think it will happen? If I actually posted this, if I actually charged this, if I actually launched this, the answer that it comes up, that is the block. Name it, write it down, look at it, because you cannot heal what you refuse to see. The second thing is to regulate before you create. Before you sit down to do work, before you open your laptop, before you start the content, before you make the calls, take 5 minutes to regulate your nervous system. Not because you are fragile, but because you're getting ready. Because a regulated nervous system produces better work, makes better decisions, and sustains momentum in a way that a dysregulated nervous system never can. Breathe deeply, move your body, say something true and good about yourself out loud. Come into the present moment and then begin. The third thing is to make one decision today from your highest identity, not from who you have been, not from the pattern, not from fear, from the woman that you are becoming. What will she do today that you have been avoiding? What decision she will make that you have been postponing? What will she create, send, say, offer, charge if she was running the show instead of the block? Make that decision. Do that thing. Not all of them, one, and notice what's happening. Because every single time you act from your highest identity, even once, even in a small way, you're laying one more brick in the foundation of who you are becoming. And eventually, not eventually someday, eventually soon, the foundation is solid enough to build on, and the building begins for real this time. Before I go, I want to say something to you that I mean completely. I see you. Not the version of you that is performing on social media, not the version of you that has it all together, not the version of you that knows all the answers and is grinding and executing and making it look effortless. The real version of you, the one who is tired, the one who has tried so many times and starting to wonder if there is something fundamentally different about her, some missing ingredient that the older woman have that she doesn't, the one who knows she has something real to offer, something that could genuinely change lives, and feels a grief, a real grief about the fact that people who need to hear are not finding her yet because she hasn't been able to fully show up. I see that woman and I want to tell her something. She is not lazy. She is not broken. She's not missing anything. She is blocked. And blocks are not permanent. Blocks are not destiny. Blocks are not who she is. They are what she has been carrying, and she needs to let them go. She doesn't have to carry them forever. There is a version of her life, a real version, not a fantasy, not a vision board, a real and actual version of her life in which her business flows, in which the clients come, in which the money comes, in which she shows up consistently, powerful and authentically, and it feels like breathing, like home, like finally being fully herself. That version is not far away. It is on the other side of that decision. The decision to stop waiting, the decision to do the real work, the decision to become the woman the calling has been waiting for. If you are ready to make the decision, if something in this conversation has stirred something in you, if you recognize yourself in what I have shared today, if you are done carrying the blocks and ready to actually heal them, I want to have a real conversation with you. I have limited spots available for private coaching, and I want to be honest with you about what it means. This is not a program where you get a workbook and a Facebook group or a weekly Zoom call. This is real, deep one on one work. This is you and me going into the places where the blocks live, doing the work that it actually changes things, building the identity and the foundation that it makes everything possible. This is not for everyone. This is for the women who are truly done, who has tried the strategy, who has bought the course, who knows in the deepest part of herself that the missing piece is not more information, but more healing, more identity work, more foundation. If that is you, go to therealnextlevel.com and apply. Not tomorrow, not when you have thought about it a little more, now. Because the woman you are becoming does not wait for the perfect moment. She creates the moment. She makes the decision. She takes the step. And the step is simple. Go to therealnextlevel.com and apply. Tell me where you are. Tell me where you want to go. Tell me what are you carrying. And let's go to work together. If this episode landed for you, if something shifted, if you felt recognized, if you found yourself crying or finally having a word for something that you have been experiencing for years, please share. Not because I need the numbers, but because there is a woman in your life right now, your friend, your sister, your fellow entrepreneur, the woman you follow on Instagram who's brilliant and stuck, who needs to hear this, who has been calling herself lazy when she's blocked, who has been punishing herself for a pattern that she doesn't understand, who is one conversation away from beginning to break the cycle. Send her this, tag her, share the episode, because this message is for all of us. And the more women who understand this, who understand that they're not lazy, they're blocked, and the blocks can be healed, the more women they can step into the fullness of what they are building. And that changes everything, not just for them, for the people they are called to serve, for the families that they're building, for the generations that they are to come after them. Subscribe to this podcast if you have not done it yet. We go deep in every episode. We go real. We talk about the things that it actually makes it different. Not just the strategy, but the woman behind the strategy. Because the woman is the business. And the business can only be as healed and as whole and as grounded if she is. Leave me a review if this episode meant something to you. It helps more women find this conversation. And every woman who finds this conversation is one more woman who has a chance to stop starting over and start building something real. I love you. I'm rooting for you. You are not lazy. You are blocked and you are one decision away from beginning to change all of that. I will see you on the next episode. Yellow diamonds